So CD's kind of seeing trend. Hello, everyone. I'm Trent Luce. Welcome to another live across the pond with my pontification partner, Andrew Henderson. Good afternoon, UK.
Good evening, USA. I'm late. Sorry, Trent. It's not the morning. I know I'm late.
Funny thing is, Andrew, I was busy this morning and I wasn't ready until you were ready, so I can't let you shoulder all the blame.
Really?
Really?
Isn't that amazing? And you know, I was in such a rush that look at this gobbledygook that I've written on the bottom there as well.
What the heck?
But you know, when did we start doing this? Was it May 2020? Is that right?
May of 2000.
And the idea was to talk about agriculture.
Regaining control for the farmer. And by the way, that's still our idea. And if I want to point at you and make a point, I will.
No, I don't like it. You can see it changes my whole demeanor when you start pointing at me. You can tell I'm a wounded man.
You're not wounded. Anyway, we're here regaining control for the farmer, just like we were at day one.
And we are. And I've got a story that I'd like to share with you all. Is that okay, Trent? Because what have you got lined up for this morning? Do you want me to tell you the story?
Did you hear the rooster crow?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Go ahead.
I've just been on a farm. We are currently, I got asked to do this. We're currently trialing a brand new initiative with dairy farmers here in the UK. And if successful, and I will use the word if successful, but I want to talk to you about it because I think, Trent, you're going to love this. But if successful, I think this could be rolled out all over the world. And I think it is my potential contribution to a clean and successful environment for the farmer to show off just how he is and she is the champion of what I would describe the future of the environment in the world. So here's I'm going to pitch it to you. Okay, I'm going to pitch it to you. This is a vial.
I'm ready, by the way.
In that vial, right? In that vial is things called feldspar crystals.
Okay.
And if I may think of pigs or poultry, or I'm going to talk dairy, every animal. What is the other thing that people consume other than food that's just as important as food and air? What's the other thing that we have to have every day or else we die?
Water.
Okay, so would it make sense to you that whether you're a monogastric, which humans are, or a pig is, or you're a ruminant or a bovine where you have 4 stomachs, all those animals require water, and maybe plants as well. They require water in different forms. Would that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, what?
I want to interrupt you a second because it's funny you're talking about this. Yesterday, I was at the Maryland State Fair, and you and I had a very good broadcast yesterday, talking about Labor Day and things. But as soon as we got done, before I started judging the pig show, I walked across the street and I walked past this little agriculture education spot. And I heard the lady behind the counter holding up a potato, asking the person standing in front of her, and what percentage of this potato do you think is water? I just heard it yesterday. And the answer was 70%. And by the way, the day that I learned that my brain was nearly 80% water, I thought, I'm going to feed that sucker. And so I drink a gallon a day. All right, on with your story. So we're both on the same wavelength about water. Go ahead.
Okay, so I've got a glass of water in my hand here. Okay, so here's the thing. So this company came and they approached me, and they said that what happens is that obviously in the volcanic regions of the world, it's the thing that makes everything pure, from rainwater through to streams and all the different areas we get water from, whether it's rivers, streams, springs. it all has to precipitate through rocks. That makes sense to me as well. And what is interesting is that those rocks basically cleanse water, so it's reused by our environment. And that makes sense to me too. So this company came to me and said, if we have a test of somebody's water, we can work out whether it's got too much calcium, not enough calcium, too much iron, not enough. And what we need to be able to do is make that water perfect for whatever species or plant we're trying to feed. Because, for example, if the pH of water is too high and an animal likes an alkaline water, that's good. But if it likes an acid water, that's not good. So they explained to me that, for example, strawberries need an acid lime water. Okay, so that is where I started to think, this is interesting. This is very interesting. In fact, this is starting to make me believe that there's something in this. And I know that I sounded a bit like Beijing Biden there, but what I felt about that was this is starting to make sense, because
no, you did not. He sounded nothing like Beijing Biden. Go on.
Okay, because if you can correct the water to the requirements of the species, then what you're able to do is then reduce the energy or protein that the animal requires to digest that water. Does that make sense to you? Because it makes sense to me.
Absolutely.
And what they said was that in the trials that they've done with strawberries, they actually increased the production of strawberries, get this, by 14% by purifying the water naturally using these vials. And how these vials work, listen to this. Now, this is where you start to think, is this something that's, like feng shui, something really mysterious, or whether it's real? But it's not the fact that the water passes through the vial. What it is it's the electrons within these crystals that attach to excesses in metals or elements in water. So if there's too much carbon, these crystals have a look. What we do is we look at the result from the water, we put the right crystals in the vial, and the idea is it purifies the water by an electromagnetic force. And you say, well, how can you prove it? Well, you can prove it quite simply, because you take a sample of the water before, you then get the correct crystals in the vial, and it's placed in the water, and then you test the water afterwards. And how it works is that if there's too much carbon or too much calcium or potassium or zinc or copper, nitrates. It attaches to the electron, and it sinks to the bottom of the water tank. So when you do the next test, you have a balanced sample of water as opposed to an unbalanced sample of water. Well, we're at that stage now. We're doing these tests on 10 farms, and I've just come back from one. And what I can tell you is, so far, today we were just doing the first sample, but we are beginning to find out some amazing information, because, first of all, the test 1 versus test 2, once the vials have gone in one of the farms, is actually proving exactly what I've just said, that the solid levels have dropped dramatically in the second sample. So here's the thing. So each time you go to a farm, they're actually modifying this. It's aluminium, by the way, and it's suspended in the water tank. And they have, depending on this is a 10,000 litre vial, okay? But so if you had a 40,000 litre tank, there'd be 4 of these vials in, and they're all suspended. And that, depending on how bad or good the water is, these vials can last. They work for up to 2 years, okay? But what I'm trying to explain to you is that, so a cow, people probably don't know this, but a cow giving 30 litres of milk, that's 70 pints a day, or pounds of milk in American lingo. Those cows require 4 times that amount in water, okay? And what's interesting, if they don't have to use any of their energy to digest that water, because it's at the correct pH with the correct balance of trace elements and minerals, then the inference is, and this is the stage we're not at yet, that we should be able to show yield improvements of between 5 and 10% on cow's milk. So if that's true, think of the energy we save. Think of the benefits to the environment, because the water's purer. And think at what we can do, not just with pigs, sheep, beef, dairy, but humans themselves. We can naturally purify without chemicals, because this we're led to believe as well. And I'm using the words led to believe, but they showed me some peer-reviewed evidence, is also taking pathogens out as well.
What about salt?
It takes salt out, yeah.
Okay, so well, you know what you just said there?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the earth, we have the same amount of water that we had on earth when Jesus walked the planet. There's no difference in the amount of water. Where the water is located and the amount of salt in the water is the discussion. Yeah. If you're telling me this little gizmo at 1 gizmo per 10,000 gallons of water will take the salt out.
10,000 liters, it's not a gallon, that's less. It is about 5 liters in a gallon, so it's about 2,000 gallons.
You always have to be speaking British talk to me. But anyway, regardless, doesn't matter what the ratio.
Yeah.
If we can desalinize water with that type of a approach and technology, that's a home run. It's game over.
That's why I wanted to share it with you. I don't know yet whether I need to see a bit more. It's called Aquapulse, but the savings on food alone would be astronomical, because you're reducing every species' requirement for energy to digest water, and water is what most of us living things are made up of. You said this, cow's milk is 12.5% dry matter, so it's 87.5% water. Everything you look at really is nearly 9/10 water, 1/10 solid. And I think we are onto something very natural. And if you think about it, Mother Earth has been doing this for years, because natural springs, natural water, we've seen.
They're all filtration systems.
Yeah, well, they're not. That's what I was led to. That's how I always thought it was, but apparently not. These feldspar crystals that are in the ground, they're not filtration systems. They're actually, there's an electrolysis process here. It's to do with elements binding to other elements.
No, I understand that you're talking about separating the atoms and sorting them and getting rid of the ones we don't want. But what nature has is filtration systems, like the riparian area where the water, before it goes into a stream, all the forage is a filtration system.
Do you know Rebecca Cunningham's a very clever lady, isn't she?
Oh, she is very clever.
Because exactly that she's saying that the evil empire won't let this succeed. It's not unlike the hydrogen cell, or dare I say it, the horse drug ivermectin, which has been used by humans for 30 years.
Yeah, and by the way, where did that come from? A fungus in the soil.
Exactly. And what I'm saying is that's why the thing is you've got to be, the rooster likes it though. You've got to be able to.
The rooster just likes morning.
You've got to be able to show the value of this and charge those that use this technology money to use it.
So, are you selling this to me, by the way? What are you doing?
I am. So I'm going to tell you what the cost is now. So
okay.
No, I am, and I want people that watch our program to tell me whether they think this is a good deal.
Well, so first we have to verify what you tell me is true. Well, and then I think it's a good deal.
Let's say it gets 5% extra milk. We don't know that yet because we haven't finished the trials. But let's say it gets a minimum of 5% extra milk. Okay. So if you produce, all I'm going to say to you is 5% extra milk in dollars is $2 a cow a day.
Okay.
I've worked that out. Okay.
All right.
$2 a dollar. It is. You don't let me go through the math.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying there's so few dairymen that you can't use a dairy analogy to make your case.
Well, I am making the case because I'm talking about British farm gate prices. They're actually less than America's, and at the moment it's 30 pence a litre, and 5% of 100 litres is. If I said this produced 5% extra milk, it's about $2 a day more milk in the UK. Okay, so $2 a day. That's 30 days, $60 a month. Okay, the cost of this per cow per month, $2. So I give you $2, you get 60. Is that a good deal, Trent?
I'll take it. I have a question for you though before we close out because we're about to the top of the hour. if you have cows, and I can't speak to dairy cows because I only work with beef cows, and Kelly goes nuts by this because you always want your cattle. First thing your dad teaches you when you're a youngster is you make sure your stock has clean water at all times. But if you give cows, stock cows, out in the pasture or in a lot, either one tank that's full of algae and it just looks awful, you would never drink out of it, and another tank that's crystal clear and just as clean as you can possibly imagine, which tank do the cows drink out of?
The algae.
Why every time they drink from the dirty tank? They drink from the pond before they drink from the good, clean water. Why?
Yeah, but that's the point I'm trying to make, that we need to understand what the requirements are. You're feeding, as we know in a ruminant, we're feeding bugs. And I know from anaerobic digesters that sometimes the bugs need to be acetic and propionic bugs, and butyric bugs, which you and I don't want to drink and eat. But animals, they have systems that are different to ours to be able to filter out some of those goodies, and also those goodies become important in their digestion. So that's why I'm saying we have to know from the water sample what the individual animal species requires, and that's what this company says. They know how to match up water with these to make the cow's milk at a higher rate. Same with pigs, same with humans. I'm just saying, and as Rebecca Cunningham said, if this works, and I believe that it probably will actually, but we have to prove it. Once we've proved it, then if I take 2 and give you 60, you'll do it. That's all I'm saying.
I'll do it.
That is
actually,
value.
if you take 2 and give me 30, I'm still going to do it.
There you go. But you're too easy to please, Trent. You're not a farmer, you're a rancher. You're not a real farmer, because what farmers always say, depending on what the cost of, how much doesn't matter what the return is. It's how much. Well, that's what happens in the UK. How much? They look at.
All right, we got to go.
Shot them between the
top
ears.
Of the hour.
Right.
Jay Truitt and possibly a surprise guest with Andrew Henderson. Roll route. Regaining control for the farmer. We'll see you.